The food industry doesn't just sell food, it sells lies. And these lies are keeping you sick, tired, and trapped. What if I told you that much of what you've been taught about food goes directly against God's design for our bodies? Today, we're exposing the truth. By the way, I'm Dr. Tabatha, your Christian physician. I'm a triple board certified OBGYN turned functional medicine physician, and I specialize in women's health in midlife. You don't need to survive, you need to thrive. So let's get into it. Modern diets have completely strayed from the way that God created our bodies to eat. We're actually designed to go a period of time without food, called fasting. And then we're supposed to forage and hunt for food and feast. And then we fast again. In this day and age, we don't go time periods without food. We have food at our fingertips every minute of the day, 24/7. We can DoorDash. We can run out to the grocery store on the corner. And the worst part is, it's not even real food. I call them frankenfoods. They're these food-like products that we've created in the factories. And really, it's not the food that God designed. And unfortunately, they're hyper palatable, they're ultra processed, they're designed to make you addicted to them and want more of them and never be satisfied, and that causes you to eat way too much of it. So back in the 80s, tobacco companies bought the food industry. They knew how to make you addicted to cigarettes, and so they went and bought food companies and got you addicted to food. We didn't know this as consumers. We just thought we were having convenience. We thought it was like quick, easy food on the go. But there was a purpose behind all of that, and the purpose was for them to make money. That really shifted our health in the 80s. And since then, obesity has skyrocketed, diabetes, heart disease, cancer, and the like. Trends continue to go up. So let's explore truths and lies about the foods we're being sold. Lie number one, processed foods. So processed foods in and of themselves are not bad. We've been processing foods since the beginning of time. But hyper-processed foods or ultra-processed foods, that is when we completely strip the food of its nutritional value and we add things in to change how it tastes and how it feels and how it's processed in our body. So these ultra-processed foods really came about with the development of trans fats or partially hydrogenated oils. I always think of the little white stuff inside of an Oreo. Our government said we will slowly start to remove this from the food, but it's still not gone. We are still consuming a high amounts of solid fat or trans fats. They are destroying our health. They are setting up just a baseline of inflammation in our gut. They are disrupting our good cholesterol levels and causing heart disease. It is a big deal. So start to think about that. When you look at the ingredients, you look at the nutrition label. If there are all these words that you can't pronounce, you don't understand, don't put it in your body. What happens when you eat these ultra processed foods is that the gut gets irritated, and your gut is the first line of defense. It's protecting you from everything in the outside world that's trying to come into your body. And when you eat ultra processed food, your gut gets angry. It turns on this fire of inflammation, and that inflammation drives disease processes. It creates inflammation in your cells, which leads to insulin resistance, diabetes, heart disease. It turns on autoimmune conditions. The list goes on because it all comes back to the ultra processed foods that your body does not want inside of it. It doesn't want you to eat that. So the food industry does a few different things when it comes to labeling our foods. First off, if there's a label on your food touting that it's super healthy, that it helps with heart disease, that it has extra fiber, some kind of virtue of making it healthy, it's usually not healthy. That's number one. They are pointing out one single fact to distract you from the fact that overall it's really not healthy and that it's harmful for you. So the guideline that I use is I try to eat stuff that doesn't have a lot on the label. If they're touting something, that usually is a warning to me to look at the ingredients and see what's going on. Because if it says low fat, no fat, that means they had to add a whole bunch of extra sugar to make it taste good. If it says no sugar, they had to add a bunch of extra sodium and other chemical ingredients to make it taste better. So just because something says gluten-free, vegan, dairy-free, that to me is a red flag. That's a warning sign that it's not healthy, that it's an ultra-processed food made in a factory, and I have no business eating it. But food labels aren't the only thing they're lying about. Let's talk about another major deception. But before I jump into lie number 2, if you're tired of being misled and want to take back control of your health, I've put together a step-by-step guide to help you get started. Click the link in the description to learn more. All right, lie number 2, fat versus sugar. For decades, we were told fat is the enemy, but that's a lie. The truth is, sugar is the enemy. Back in the 90s, they took the fat out of food and they added sugar. The idea behind this was to make the food more addictive. They wanted you coming back time and time again, buying all those boxed and bagged snacks and treats and granola bars and all the food that they were touting as healthy by calling it no fat or low fat. But the truth was they were making you addicted because it had high amounts of sugar. So they got away with putting whole grains as the first ingredient, followed by 5 different types of sugar, and that was misleading. That is a misrepresentation, when the truth of it is sugar is the #1 ingredient in most bagged foods. So we're being deceived once again, and the idea that fat is the enemy is just not true. So the Bible is clear that we are to treat our body like a temple. It in fact is where the Holy Spirit lives, so God is living inside of us. He's given this body to us for this earthly endeavor, and we're supposed to treat it well. The Bible also says, whatever you eat or drink, do so for the glory of God. So we really need to get back to eating with a purpose, eating for nourishment, and clean eating the way that God asks us to really take care of our bodies. When I used to eat the standard American diet, I treated my body like a garbage can. I would just throw in whatever I could get my hands on. I was stressed, I was busy, I didn't have time to think about food, I just needed a quick energy fix. And that was really not honoring God. So I would recommend take a minute and think about what you're putting in your mouth every day. I personally logged my food for a few days just with an app, and by about the 3rd day, I realized, wow, I really am a garbage can. I am not nourishing my body. These are not good choices. So you have to really start to get intentional about how you're using your body. The #1 way to break up with sugar and shift your eating habits so you're no longer eating this food that doesn't nourish you is to get honest with yourself. Keep a food diary, look at what you're actually eating, read the ingredients, have a heart-to-heart with yourself. If you realize, oh my goodness, this is not food from God, this is man-made food in boxes and bags the majority of the time, then it's time to do something differently. That is how I started, and that changed everything. I swapped out candy bars, bags of popcorn for fruit and vegetables. That's where I would start. I would just get real and have a heart-to-heart with yourself, a come to Jesus moment, if you will, when it comes to your food. Once your eyes are opened, you can't really go back. You can't unsee the truth about how you've been treating your body. So then you can just start to move forward with, okay, how can I start to replace these bad choices? What can I do differently? How can I learn to nourish my body? And I got you on that. I'm going to teach you all of that. Now that you know the food industry's lies, let's talk about how to eat the way God intended. In this next video, I'll break down the foods that truly nourish your body and soul. Click here to watch now.